Good evening, American freedom fighters. This is Tony D here, and I'm glad and hoping that you all join me. I want to go ahead and give you a little information this evening, and this will be about our constitutional rights. I am going to read these amendment rights tonight. They are the United States Amendment rights. And before I get into that, I would like to share the new website that I will have up and running within a week or two. I will give you a preview of what this site looks like. And let me put my second pair of eyeballs on here. Oh, they changed things here. Let's see here. Let me see what we can do. All right. All right. Just so you know here. Let me get back here to my page here. Now, this is my website I have started for all the American people out here. Doesn't make a difference if you're a veteran or not. This is a site where anybody can join. It will be a small fee to join on a yearly basis. And we will have special videos that will be going that you can join. And that will be a small fee as well. And to get into this a little bit more, I will show you a little bit on this so that you can see what we have here, okay? Let me get to the site itself here. And as you can see on this site, this pretty much talks about different freedom fighters that we have here in the United States. And some of our great freedom fighters know our heroes. I also have links to our Second Amendment rights, as well as the USCCA that you can join. I also have a donation button up here where you can join the American freedom fighters. As you can see, we support our veterans on this site. We do have donations that are coming in. All right, just to let you know. So you can see that we will become strong. The voices of our people. We all will be heard. And we will fight our government for our freedoms in this country. These are just different people who have donated and who enjoy the American freedom fighters and what we stand for. As you can see, we do have donations and the people and veterans that we have served so far. And you can become a volunteer with us. As you can see. And also, what are American freedom fighters? What you can do, how you can contribute. Can you be a volunteer of the American freedom fighters? Yes, you can. Don't go by this here email and stuff. This phone number is the only thing that is actually in operation at this moment. The address and the visiting things will be changed here. Just to let you know. And I will have a newsletter coming in here. And to let you know, these are all different things that are on this website. This even tells you a little bit about us. So in case you want to know the history and the news about the American freedom fighters and events and happenings that are going on right now. Knowledge and education, donation and charity without discrimination. This is for all races, colors, creeds, men, women to join. You do not have to be a veteran to join the American freedom fighters. This is a 501c3 organization, non-for-profit. And like it says, we are always looking for sponsors and support. We support all people of all gender, race, color, creed, and nationality. We also support our veterans. And this will give you an idea of what our site is about and different people that support us. It explains how you can volunteer. We will also have a blog here that I will be running up here on the top. And there'll be a contact link. And about us, of course, and our heroes through the years. George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, Martin Luther King, Theodore Roosevelt. Like I say, this site will be up and running within a couple weeks. So I hope you join us because we are one as in a people. So this is to let you know all the different things I have coming up here on American Freedom Fighters. So on that note, I will get out of this because I'm getting a thing from from I don't know if it's YouTube or someone else, but this is my website, just to let you know. So, with further ado, I believe that we should get into our amendment rights here on American Freedom Fighters. And I can see my internet is not the best in the world. And I'm hooked directly with the Ethernet to my modem. And unfortunately, it's not working the way it should because, oh, okay, now I got my full stuff in view here. Now, to let you know, the conventions of a number of states having at the time of their adopting the Constitution expressed a desire in order to prevent misconstruction or abuse of its powers that further declaration and recessive clauses should be added, and as extending the ground of public confidence in the government will best ensure the benefit or beneficent, ends its institution. Resolved by the Senate and House of Representatives of the United States of America and Congress assembled, 2/3 of both houses concurring, that the following articles be proposed to the legislatures of the several states as amendments to the Constitution of the United States, all or any of which articles, when ratified by 3/4 of the said legislatures, to be valid to all intents and purposes as part of the said Constitution. Now, articles in addition to amendment of the Constitution of the United States of America proposed by Congress and ratified by the legislatures, of the several states pursuant to the fifth article of the original Constitution. So we shall begin. Amendment 1, our First Amendment right. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for the redress of grievances. Now, why I wanted to read this is because of these social media platforms that think that they can dictate what we can and cannot do here in the United States of America. This First Amendment alone speaks of us not being denied our freedom of speech. Our Second Amendment, which is very, very important to all of us, and it states a well regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Now, this is another amendment right where apparently our Democratic Party here in the United States thinks that they can overwrite it with red flag bills and such. And apparently they do not understand the words shall not be infringed. Now, here at American Freedom Fighters, we're going to be fighting this 100% to stop this tyrannical, corrupt government from trying to overwrite our constitutional rights. Amendment 3, no soldier in time of peace be questioned and quartered in any house without the consent of the owner, nor in time of war, but in a manner to be prescribed by law. The right of the Amendment number 4, the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall issue, but upon probable cause supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. So nobody can just come into your house and seize any of your property without proper uh, documentation. Amendment 5, no person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime unless on a presentment or indictment of a grand jury, except in cases arising in the land or naval forces or in the militia, when in actual service in time of war or public danger, nor shall any person be subject for the same offense to be twice put in jeopardy of life or limb, nor shall be compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against himself, nor be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation. And I hope you all don't let anybody take anything of your private property without proper causes. you have that right to deny anyone from taking anything from you at any time. Amendment 6. In all criminal prosecutions, the accused shall enjoy the right to a speedy and public trial by an impartial jury, by an impartial jury of the state and district wherein the crime shall have been committed, which district shall have been previously ascertained by law, and to be informed of the nature and cause of the accusation, to be confronted with the witnesses against him, to have compulsory process for obtaining witnesses in his favor, and to have the assistance of counsel for his defense. And we must push this true and hard in this day and age, because you're innocent until proven guilty. While these courts today are making you guilty before you can prove yourself innocent, which needs to stop. And we will here at American Freedom Fighters will help you fight against this tyrannical, corrupt government and courts. Now, Amendment 7. In suits at common law, where the value in controversy shall exceed $20, the right of trial by jury shall be preserved, and no fact tried by a jury shall be otherwise re-examined in any court of the United States than according to the rules of the common law. Amendment number 8. Excessive bail shall not be required, nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruel and unusual punishments inflicted. Now, we see what they're doing as far as your bails when a person gets arrested. And for some reason, these judges and the district attorneys are setting outrageous bails, which are excessive, and they should not be putting excessive bails on people. Now, the correct number 9, Amendment number 9, the enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. Excuse me while this train goes by. Amendment number 10. The powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively or to the people. Amendment number 11. And this was passed by Congress March 4th, 1794, and ratified in February 7th of 1795. And this was a note that was Article 3, Section 2 of the Constitution was modified by Amendment 11, which states the judicial power of the United States shall not be construed to extend to any suit in law or equality, commenced or prosecuted against one of the United States by citizens or another state, or by citizens or subjects of any foreign state. Amendment 12 was passed by Congress December 9th, 1803, and ratified June 15th, 1804. And it is noted that a portion of Article 2, Section 1 of the Constitution was superseded by the 12th Amendment, which states the electors shall meet in their respective states and vote by ballot for president and vice president, one of whom at least shall not be an inhabitant of the same state with themselves. They shall name in their ballots the person voted for. Excuse me while I switch pages. Voted for president, and in district ballots the person voted for as vice president, and they shall make distinct lists of all persons voted for as president, and of all persons voted for as vice president, and of the number of votes for each, which lists they shall sign and certify, and transmit sealed to the seat of the government of the United States, directed to the President of the Senate. The President of the Senate shall, in the presence of the Senate and House of Representatives, open all the certificates, and the votes shall then be counted. The person having the greatest number of votes for president shall be the president. If such number be a majority of the whole number of elections appointed, and if no person have such majority, then from the persons having the highest numbers not exceeding 3 on the list of those voted for as president, the House of Representatives shall choose immediately by ballot the president, but in choosing the president, the vote shall be taken by states. The representation from each state having one vote, a quorum for this proposed shall consist of a member or members from 2/3 of the states, and a majority of all the states shall be necessary to a choice. And if the House of Representatives shall not choose a president, whenever the right of choice shall devolve upon them before the 4th day of March next following, then the vice president shall act as president, as in case of the death or other constitutional disability of the president. The person having the greatest number of votes as vice president shall be the vice president, if such number be a majority of the whole number of elections appointed, and if no person have a majority, then from the 2 highest numbers on the list, the Senate shall choose the vice president. A quorum for the purpose shall consist of 2/3 of the whole number of senators, and a majority of the whole number shall be necessary to a choice. But no person constitutionally ineligible to the office of president shall be eligible to that of vice president of the United States. Now, Amendment 13, passed by Congress January 31st, 1865, ratified December 6th, 1865. A portion of Article 4, Section 2 of the Constitution was suspended by the 13th Amendment. Section 1. Neither slavery, nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for crime, whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction. Section 2. Congress shall have power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. Amendment 14, passed by Congress June 13th, 1886, and ratified July 9th of 1868. Note Article 1, Section 2 of the Constitution was modified by Section 2 of the 14th Amendment. Section 1. All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property within due process of law, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws. Now, we do have a problem with this. And that problem is with all these illegal immigrants coming into the United States, they're not vetted in legally. So that should make them null and void in becoming a citizen of the United States. That's my opinion. Okay, Section 2, representatives shall be apportioned among the several states according to their respective numbers, counting the whole number of persons in each state, excluding Indians not taxed. But when the right to vote at any election for the choice of electors for president and vice president of the United States, representatives in Congress, the executive and judicial officers of a state, or the members of the legislature thereof, is denied to any of the male inhabitants of such state, being 21 years of age and citizens of the United States, or in any way abridged, except for participation in rebellion or other crime. The basis of representation therein shall be reduced in the proportion which the number of such male citizens shall bear to the whole number of male citizens 21 years of age in such states. Section 3 is no person shall be a senator or representative in Congress or elector of president and vice president or hold any office, civil or military, under the United States or under any state, who, having previously taken an oath as a member of Congress or as an officer of the United States or as a member of any state legislature or as an executive or judicial officer of any state, to support the Constitution of the United States, shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the same, or given aid or comfort to the enemies thereof. But Congress may, by a vote of 2/3 of each House, removal of such disability. Section 4, the validity of the public debt of the United States, authorized by law, including debts incurred for payment of pensions and bounties for services in suppressing insurrection or rebellion, shall not be questioned. But neither the United States nor any state shall assume or pay any debt or obligation incurred in aid of insurrection or rebellion against the United States, or any claim for the loss of emancipation of any slave. But all such debts, obligations, and claims shall be held illegal and void. The Congress shall have the power, and this is Section 5, the Congress shall have the power to enforce by appropriate legislation the provisions of this article. And that was changed by Section 1 of the 26th Amendment. Now, Amendment 25, passed by Congress February 26th of 1869, ratified February 3rd of 1870. Section 1, the right of citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of race, color, or previous condition of servitude. Section 2, the Congress shall have the power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. So I want to know why they installed President Biden when we had all of this election fraud. he should never have been inserted, as well as Kamala Harris as vice president. They should have never been inserted as president and vice president of the United States of America due to these amendment rights. Amendment 6. Note, Article 1, Section 9 of the Constitution was modified by Amendment 16. That's what I meant to say, not Amendment 6, Amendment 16. I'm sorry. The Congress shall have the power to lay and collect taxes on incomes from whatever source derived, without appointment among the several states, and without regard to any census or enumerations. Amendment 17, passed by Congress May 13th, 1912, ratified April 8th of 1913. Note, Article 1, Section 3 of the Constitution was modified by the 17th Amendment. The Senate of the United States shall be composed of 2 senators from each state, elected by the people thereof for 6 years, and each senator shall have 1 vote. The electors in each state shall have the qualifications requisite for elections of the most numerous branch of the state legislatures. When vacancies happen in the representation of any state in the Senate, the executive authority of such state shall issue writs of election to fill such vacancies, provided that the legislature of any state may empower the executive, therefore, to make temporary appointments until the people fill the vacancies by election as the legislature may direct. This amendment shall not be so construed as to affect the election or term of any senator chosen before it becomes valid as part of the Constitution. Amendment 18, passed by Congress December 18th, 1917, ratified January 16th, 1919, replaced by Amendment 21. Section 1. After 1 year from the ratification of this article, the manufacture, sale, or transportation of intoxicating liquors within, the importation thereof into, or the exportation thereof from the United States and all territory subject to the jurisdiction therefore for beverage purposes is hereby prohibited. That doesn't make any sense because we transport alcohol across state lines all the time. So apparently we're going against our own amendment rights. These businesses are. Okay, Section 2. The Congress and the several states shall have concurrent power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. Section 3. This article shall be inoperative unless it shall have been ratified as an amendment to the Constitution by the legislatures of the several states, as provided in the Constitution within 7 years from the date of the submission hereof to the states by the Congress. Amendment 19, passed by Congress June 4th, 1990, ratified August 18th, 1920. The right of citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of sex. Congress shall have power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. Article 20, passed by Congress March 2nd, 1932, and ratified January 23rd of 1933. Note that the Article 1, Section 4 of the Constitution was modified by Section 2 of this amendment. In addition, a portion of the 12th Amendment was superseded by Section 3. Section 1. The terms of the President and the Vice President shall end at noon on the 20th day of January, and the terms of senators and representatives at noon on the 3rd day of January of the years in which such terms would have ended if this article had not been ratified, and the terms of their successors shall then begin. This is why we need term limits. And hello, how you doing there? I don't know if you're a troll or whatever. Another one, possible troll. Section 2. The Congress shall assemble at least once in every year, and such meeting shall begin at noon on the 3rd day of January, unless they shall, by law, appoint a different day. Section 3. If, at the time fixed for the beginning of the term of the President-elect shall have died, the Vice President-elect shall become President. If a President shall not have been chosen before the time fixed for the beginning of his term, or if the President-elect shall have failed to qualify, then the Vice President-elect shall act as President until a President shall have qualified. And the Congress may by law provide for the cause wherein neither a President-elect nor a Vice President shall have qualified, declaring who shall then act as President, or the manner in which one who is to act shall be selected, and such person shall act accordingly until a President or Vice President shall have qualified. Section 4 states the Congress may by law provide the case of the death of any of the previous persons from whom the House of Representatives may choose a president whenever the right of choice shall have devolved upon them, and for the case of the death of any of the persons from whom the Senate may choose a vice president whenever the right of choice shall have devolved upon them. And I'm going through these one at a time, people. Section 5 of Amendment 20. Section 1 and 2 shall take effect on the 15th day of October following the ratification of this article. Section 6. This article shall be inoperative unless it shall have been ratified as an amendment to the Constitution by the legislatures of 3/4 of the several states within 7 years from the date of its submission. Article 21, passed by Congress February 20th, 1933, ratified December 5th, 1933. Section 1. Each 18th article of amendment to the Constitution of the United States is hereby repealed. Section 2. The transportation and importation into any state, territory, or possession of the United States for delivery or use therein of intoxicating liquors in violation of the laws, therefore, is hereby prohibited. Section 3. This article shall be inappropriative unless it shall have been ratified as an amendment to the Constitution by conventions in the several states as provided in the Constitution within 7 years from the date of the submission hereof to the states by the Congress. Amendment 22, passed by Congress March 21st, 1947, ratified January 27th, 1951. Section 1. No person shall be elected to the office of the President more than twice Let me read that again. No person shall be elected to the office of the president more than twice, and no person who has held the office of president or acted as president for more than 2 years of a term to which some other person was elected president shall be elected to the office of president more than once. But this article shall not apply to any person holding the office of president when this article was proposed by Congress, and shall not prevent any person who may be holding the office of president or acting as president during the term within which this article becomes operative from holding the office of president or acting as president during the remainder of such term. Section 2 of Amendment 22. This article shall be inoperative unless it shall have been ratified as an amendment to the Constitution by the legislatures of 3/4 of the several states within 7 years from the date of its submission to the states by Congress. Amendment 23, passed by Congress June 16th, 1960, ratified March 29th, 1961. Section 1 of Amendment 23. The district constituting the seat of government of the United States shall appoint in such manner as Congress may direct a number of electors of president and vice president equal to the whole number of senators and representatives in Congress to which the district would be entitled if it were a state, but in no event more than the least populous state. They shall be in addition to those appointed by the states, but they shall be considered for the purpose of the election of president and vice president, to be electors appointed by a state, and they shall meet in the district and perform such duties as provided by the 12th article of the amendment. Section 2. The Congress shall have power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. Amendment 24, passed by Congress August 27th, 1962, ratified January 23rd, 1964. Section 1. The right of the citizens of the United States to vote in any primary or other election for president or vice president, for elections for president or vice president, or for Senate, senator, or representatives in Congress shall not be denied, the abridged by the United States or any state by reason of failure to pay poll tax or other tax. Section 2. The Congress shall have power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. Amendment 25, passed by Congress July 6th, 1965, ratified February 10th, 1967. Note that Article 2, Section 1 of the Constitution was affected by the 25th Amendment. Section 1 of the Amendment 25 states, in case of the removal of the president from office or of his death or resignation, the vice president shall become president. Section 2 of Amendment 25. Whenever there is a vacancy in the office of the vice president, the president shall nominate a vice president who shall take office upon confirmation by the majority vote of both houses of Congress. Section 3 of the 25th Amendment. Whenever the president transmits to the president pro tempore of the Senate and the Speaker of the House of Representatives his written declaration that he is unable to discharge the powers and duties of his office and until he transmits to them a written declaration to the country, such powers and duties shall be discharged by the Vice President as acting President. Section 4 of our 25th Amendment states, whenever the Vice President and a majority of either the principal offices of the executive departments or of such other body as Congress may by law provide, transmit to the President pro tempore of the United States Senate and the Speaker of the House of Representatives the written declaration that the President is unable to discharge the powers and duties of his office. The Vice President shall immediately assume the powers and duties of the office as acting President. Therefore, when the President transmits to the President pro tempore of the Senate and the Speaker of the House of Representatives his written declaration that no inalienability exists, he shall resume the powers and duties of his office unless the Vice President and the majority of either the principal officers of the executive department or of such other body as Congress may by law provide transmit within 4 days to the President pro tempore of the Senate and the Speaker of the House of Representatives that written declaration that the President is unable to discharge the powers and the duties of his office. Thereupon, Congress shall decide and issue, assembling within 48 hours for that purpose, if not in session. If the Congress, within 21 days after receipt of the later written declaration, or if Congress is not in session within 21 days after Congress is required to assemble, determines by 2/3 vote of both houses that the President is unable to discharge the powers and duties of his office. The Vice President shall continue to discharge the same as acting President. Otherwise, the President shall resume the powers and duties of his office. Now we get into Amendment 26, passed by Congress on March 23rd, 1971, and ratified July 1st, 1971. Note the Amendment 14, Section 2 of the Constitution was modified by Section 1 of the 26th Amendment. Section 1 states, the right of citizens of the United States who are 18 years of age or older to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of age. Section 2, the Congress shall have power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. And then we get into our last amendment right, which is Amendment 27, originally proposed September 25th, 1789, and it was ratified May 7th, 1992. No law varying the compensation for the services of the senators and representatives shall take effect until an election of representatives shall have intervened. Now, I'm hoping you all got a little something out of that on our amendment rights. Give me a second here. Those amendment rights, our government has not been following. They have tried to rewrite our constitutional rights. They are trying to overwrite them or say that our constitutional rights is just a piece of paper. Well, to let you know, there's a lot of pieces of paper here. 35 pages. And this is the Constitution of the United States of America, which I'm not reading today. I'll read that a different day. And I may have to do it in a couple of days just to get it all read. It took me basically a little more than half an hour just to read all our amendments to the United States Constitution. I just had to show that to you so you understand what I'm reading and where it's coming from. Now, like I stated, I will be getting into the Constitution of the United States, and I hope you all enjoyed that. I would ask that you like, share, subscribe to this channel, and I'd be very happy to see you come in here, join this channel, subscribe to it, and I will have more to come on this channel as well. I will also be getting involved in survivor skills, food preps, things you should do in a bug-in situation, and things not to do in a bug-in situation. Now, we see what's going on up in Canada, and we see how the people of Canada, and they have my support 100%, they want their freedoms. They want all their mandates and proof of the so-called vax removed. They want their lives back. I applaud them. I applaud the Canadian Truckers Freedom Convoy. I must also let you know that the American truckers will be meeting up on the first day of March of this year in a few weeks, and they will start the American Freedom Convoy that will be working its way to Washington, D.C., starting March 4th. Expect food supplies, as well as any kind of other supplies you may need, lumber, you name it. Any supplies that are in your markets, hardware stores, grocery stores, they're going to be scarce if you'll be able to get them at all. Because the American Truckers Convoy, they're fighting for our rights. We support them here at American Freedom Fighters. They are freedom fighters themselves. And if you can, join them in Washington, D.C. I would say to all of you to get your food, get your supplies, get everything you need, gas, propane, oil, things of that nature that you're going to need. Get all your supplies now, because once the 1st of March rolls around, you may not be able to get any supplies of anything after that. And you'll be stuck with whatever you have in your home is all you're going to have for quite a while. Now, I'm not saying you go and you hoard everything like toilet paper like they did when this pandemic first started, but I do suggest you get the items you need. Don't forget, you must have food, clothing, shelter. Get your supplies together. Get your medical items together. And don't forget your means of self-defense. I understand the freedom seeds are starting to get available. Sucks having lung problems. I understand that your freedom seeds are starting to get available again, but they're very, very high in price. I know, as for myself, I want to purchase some ammunition. Excuse me. It ended up, what I used to purchase a box of ammo for $9 is now $40. Did I purchase it? No, I did not. I'm going to try other means of finding the freedom seeds I need. People, I thank you for joining me whenever you watch this, morning, noon, or night. Like I say, like, subscribe, share my channel with friends and family. This is an educational live stream. Doesn't make a difference when you watch this, morning, noon, or night. And I may say, once my other channel has been released from a strike, I don't know why it isn't operational, because it's been 3 weeks now and I still do not have access, and that site has not been deleted. That channel has not been deleted. But I want to get back on that and talk about survival items and things on that. And that is One Liberty, One Freedom here on YouTube. So just to let you know, get your items together now, people, while you can. Now is the time, because once the 3rd or 4th of March rolls around and this truckers' freedom convoy starts, truckers will be going on strike in Canada as well as here in the United States. Once that happens, you're not going to be getting any supplies in any stores whatsoever. So I hope and I pray for y'all. I ask that you stay safe, get what you need, get your MAG together, your mutual assistance group, get friends and family together, get your communication sources together, whether it be citizen band radio, two-way radio, ham radio, or have a landline phone that has a rotary dial where you can dial out to people to call. But they must as well have a landline phone with a rotary dial phone. Another thing I want to mention is be prepared for cyber attacks. I myself have had my bank account hacked 2 weeks ago. I must tell you people to keep an eye out on scammers. Keep your head on a swivel. Always watch what's going on around you. People are getting desperate, and it's going to get a lot worse before it gets a lot better. As my motto goes, it's better to have and not need than to need and not have. So please, get your items in order. Please join me. Become a freedom fighter. We're fighting for our freedom. If we lose our freedom, we may never get it back. That's like this Freedom Truckers Convoy. They're fighting for our freedom so that these mandates are gone. Same with the vax registrations and such. Showing Z papers. Those we want eliminated as well. We want to get back to having our freedom, our liberties. We want our unity. We want to be able to go where we want to go, do what we want to do, when we want to do it. We don't have to listen to this government. And this is why we're here. We're here for we the people. It doesn't make a difference of your race, color, creed, gender. Give us your support. We'll back you and support you. We'll help you with assistance any way we can. So once again, I pray for everybody around the world. I pray for everybody in America. God bless you all. God bless America. You all have a good night now. I will be on here again next Wednesday evening at 7 p.m. I'm starting an hour earlier because I'm going over other channels that I enjoy watching, and I hate to go ahead and go over them. So anyway, have a good night, everyone. God bless y'all. God bless America. See you next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Good night, all. We need our freedom. Freedom! Good night.